Hello. Well, you may wonder why I've got the mysterious lighting. Well, the topic for January, oh God, for June, June 24th episode of Ask the Wizard Almost Daily is actually almost like a sequel, or you could say two missing stories that we weren't told in the last show. Yes, it's true. There are two more stories. So, what am I referring to? So, in the last broadcast, which you'd have to scroll back in my profile or go to YouTube channel, right? If you go to our YouTube channel, I don't have my text prompter up here, but you know what it is. Healingcenter.ca. Click on YouTube, and I've got archived all of these under live broadcasts. Duh. And you can always stream them from them as well. And of course, they're on my profile. So, in the last show, we talked about the three stories that we should and shouldn't be telling ourselves. And I'll give a quick overview of those. And what was interesting is, even when the show was completing, I'm kind of feeling this little hint from source that it wasn't quite done yet. That episode was done, but there was something more. So what was really interesting was there are two more stories. All right, so let's bring in Mr. Flipchart. Okay, I'm just getting rid of this stuff here so we don't have clicking and clacking. All right, so a quick review. This is you, right? Oh, yeah. So I don't know whether you can hear that or not, but I've got somebody working down in the basement. So if you hear buzzing in the background, it's not you, it's him. All right. So this is your I am, again, your higher self, whatever. This is your external experience, right? Yeah, that'll work. And then there's the three stories. So the first story, I'll go through these fairly quickly because you can just go back to the episode. It was the last one. I want to say maybe even Monday. And the first story is this one. And this is the story that our external tells about us. Right. And again, I'll go through these fairly quickly. Then the next one is, what's the next one? There we go. Tell back. We're good. So the next one is, I'll do a different color just so we've got it here. So the next one goes this way. Now that's first of all, that's the big bonus right there. Is instead of your external world telling the story about who you are, what you can have, can't have, can do, can't do, all that kind of stuff. Now you're the one that's telling the story, but it's very logical, which means that it fits inside your existing belief systems, right? Systems. I'll do this quick. Anyway, there we are. Okay, so it fits inside your existing belief systems. Now that's still a big step up from having your external world. But what it will tend to do is it'll tend to just recreate the past because our logic or our belief systems are built upon the past. And of course, then they make themselves known here, which is a very powerful way of limiting the future that we're building into. Then there's a third voice. Whoops, I'll use a different color. Oh, I know what I did. I used this one, which we call your I am voice. Now, your I am voice, this is the voice that, first of all, it contradicts this. You can just count on that, right? Because by definition, your I am voice doesn't make sense, right? So this one is logical. This one isn't. It's just crazy. It just doesn't make sense. But this is the truth that you stand in. And this is where you create that set point where you're now expanding into your future. You're just not recreating the past into the future. All right. All right. So that's the three existing, that's the voices we talked about in the last broadcast. Okay. We're going to go down here. We'll just put these guys back. This is you. This is you. Whoops. Come on. This is you. This is your external world, right? Now, so that was the three stories. So then the next story, and it's almost like not like any of these are bad. And that's really important that we don't get stuck up on, oh, okay, well, that story, my external world is telling me who I am. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is. I think it really comes down to you deciding if it serves you, right? Because if your external environment is telling you a story that really is a great story, then go with it, right? I think that really the power comes in is recognizing the one or ones that don't serve you anymore, and then you can choose to go to these different levels. Generally speaking, kind of going ascending is, well, I'll say better, for lack of a better term. All right, so let's head back. Okay, so then the next one, or the fourth one, is coming. Let's put another color to it. And this one's really powerful. Is no story. So it's really interesting that, so the first one, right? The first one is, this is the story your external environment is telling you about who you are, what you can have, can't have. Oh, and by the way, that's why the show was broadcast at 3 o'clock instead of 11:30, because they were working in the basement. Anyway, the second one is, at least you're taking your power back in saying, I choose to tell the story, right, within the existing belief systems. Then, of course, the next one is, I'm choosing to tell a new story that's outside of my existing belief systems. And as I hold that, then mentor, and that's a big piece of what 777 Club is about, is we working together and learning how to mentor those belief systems to expand into the new truth. Now, the next one, which is kind of interesting, is no story at all. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, our logical mind, and us included, our logical mind is obsessed with trying to figure out why things are the way they are. You know, here, I'll flip these on here. We'll do this, give it a little bit more light, because the mystery is kind of over now. There we go. Okay, so your logical mind is obsessed with trying to make sense out of its external world. And then, of course, we go into this new truth, as I mentioned. But what's really interesting is, and I think this is where there's a big shift, is when we simply don't tell any story, which requires us to release the need to know why. Releasing that need to know why something, person, place, thing, or event, like something's happening in our external experience, an event is happening, something like that. And we're not telling a story about it either way. And then this was a really, I think this was probably the initial conversation, I guess you would say, that Source had with me that started this whole 5 stories. Was, so here's this event that's happening, whatever it is, stimulus, right, coming in from our external world. And our logical mind is going to want to try and create a why. It's going to want to try and answer the question of why. We don't have to make that happen. It just does. It just wants to know why. And it can feel and seem very logical. But what Source said to me was, what if that's not an accurate story? What if the stimulus that you're receiving, what if the story that your logical mind, or the meaning that your logical mind is applying to it, what if it's not right? Because it's simply it's the meaning you put to this external stimulus, right? There's a very big difference. There's the stimulus, then there's the meaning that you give to it, right? The stimulus is stimulus, good, bad, or otherwise. You're the one that gives it meaning, right? And so what Source said is, what if you're wrong? What if the meaning you're giving to whatever this external stimulus is, what if it's just flat out wrong? And so then what I would do is I'd try, okay, well, if that's wrong, so what's the right story? And then Source encouraged me, and especially now, I tell you, I keep coming back to this phase that we're moving into, this building phase. And again, we've been talking about this for probably years now, well over a year. It's like this new wave that's coming in that is going to take us so much higher, I'll use that word, than we've been before. There's no way we can understand it logically. No way. The logic may catch up. But to use our existing logic to try and explain and understand what's happening, it just doesn't work, especially now because we're moving and we're sort of increasing in vibration. That's really oversimplified, far too fast, which is why sometimes the best story is the one we don't tell. Sometimes the best story is the one that you don't tell. And here's the stimulus, here's the experience, here's whatever comes with it. And you don't try and tell a story at all. You simply just experience the experience and allow the why, allow the understanding, allow the becauses, all that kind of stuff to find you whenever. And I think right now, this is a valuable story not to tell because things are moving, expanding so fast. I don't think we have a hope of really accurately encompassing the full meaning and ramifications, I guess you would say, of what's happening and what's coming. So the fourth story is no story at all. Then there's the fifth story. And there is the I am. So I am, that's you and you and you and you and me and me and me. And then there's the I am, of which we're all, so this is you, right? We're all individualizations of this. So when you hear the whole thing about we're all connected, we're all one, well, we're not so much connected here. I mean, we're experiencing our own individual, unique experience. Where we're connected is here, okay? So there's no story. And then the fifth one. And Source said, would you be willing to hear my story about your external experience? Would you be willing to hear what I have to think about it? Now, understanding that we're never going to be able to have full understanding of knowledge of the I am. We're never designed to. But there's the story we allow our external experience to tell about us. There's our logical story we tell. There's the story we choose to tell. There's no story. And then there is the I am's story. And Source said, Source, the I am, said, what about if you let me tell the story? Would you be open to hearing a bit about the story I'm telling about your experience? Understanding we're not going to receive it all at once, we can't. But, you know, when you think about it, that's got to be the best story of all. The best story of all. What's the I am story about your external experience, which is by far the best voice of all. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I got to get down and see how the guys are doing downstairs. But I wanted to hop on and get this in between loud noises. So I did pretty good. So if you want a more in-depth discussion of the first three, go back to the last show, scroll down on my profile, go to the YouTube channel. It would have been probably this Monday, I'm thinking. So check that out. Well, I can do a quick review of it here. So here we go. Right, there's the first three voices. Talked about that. I think it's on Monday's show. Story our external world is telling us. The story where logic is telling us. Our I am story that we're choosing to tell. Then the ones for this episode is, then there is simply not telling any story, just allowing the experience to unfold for itself. And then there is the story that I am has to tell about our experience, which is the best story of all. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Share. We're on this together. 777 Club. You see posts related to it on my profile. I just did another guided meditation experience and posted it in the private group. They're really good, I gotta say. And the folks are really enjoying them. It's well worth checking out. If you want to know more about it, you can, of course, message me. You can go to the web pages and all that kind of cool stuff. We just keep adding value and value and value. And then, of course, the group is adding value within itself. And that's where things are going, folks. Community with a capital C. Share. We're all in this together. See you on the web.